Okay guys, I'm gonna try to do this demo again. I did it already and I deleted it, so we're gonna go for a second round. Okay, so I've got, I've got 2 sets of buckets here, and when you come back, you're gonna have to use these 2. So the first one is gonna be the detergent bucket, which is soapy water that you clean with first. Even though the station's already pretty clean, you need to do it every period, wherever you're gonna be cooking on. And you do the detergent first and the sanitation second. I have all this, they gave me this speaker thing and it's just like right in the way right now. So I'm just gonna wipe around it. And then I'm gonna go over here and wipe by the mixer. It's so different than my little kitchen and trying to record in my little kitchen. I won't do this on every demo that I'm cleaning and sanitizing. I just want you to know that you have to do both. So now I just got the red sanitizer bucket and I'm sanitizing second. So guys, in class, if you miss a demo day, I'll do a demo on Mondays. So just watch the demos that you missed if you're absent that day, so that when you come to class on the Thursday or Friday, you can still cook it. Okay. I can't pause it while I wash my hands, because then I'd have to push my phone and then wash my hands again. So I'm going to wash my hands. So wash your hands after you clean. Because if you wash your hands first, then you're putting your hands in those buckets and then you're going to have to wash your hands again. So just wait. And you'll have a utility person in your station that will be responsible for cleaning the station anyways. So you could wash their hands while they're cleaning, and then they wash their hands when they're done. But just, you're probably wondering why I didn't wash my hands. It's because I do it after I wipe things down. I'm really struggling keeping my mask over my nose with talking so much, so it's kind of been a struggle today. I have to keep pulling my mask up like with my arms, because I don't want to keep washing my hands a million times. Okay, it's already falling down, I can tell. Okay, so I need a bowl for my sugar and butter ingredients. So like the creaming process, that's going to be this one, because I'm going to use the mixer. And you guys don't have to write the recipe until after I'm done, because I'll post it. And then I need a bowl for my dry ingredients. So 2 bowls. So this one is going to be flour, 2.5 cups. So when you measure it in class, you don't have to get 2.5 cups like this. Like, you can just put it in your bowl as you go, so you're not taking like, a whole bunch of cups back to your station. If you do it that way, we kind of run out in class, because I only have a certain amount of cups. So the flours are going to be, and sugar, regular sugar, are in the bins, these big white bins. And then when you get it, you need to have something to level it off with. So this is a metal spatula, or it's like an icing thing for cake. It kind of looks like a knife, but it's not. So I'm using that to level it off. So after I get it, I know you can't see it on the video, guys, but you just level it off till it's even. So this is how you level off. You can't see in the video. So that's 1.5. I'll put it in this one, and then I need 1 more cup. So this has never been my first demo. I always demo M&M bars first. But like I said, we have all these ingredients that I need to use up before it expires. And we threw away half of our ingredients from the pantry. So I'm trying to salvage whatever I can. Okay, and then next you need baking soda and baking powder both. A teaspoon of each. These are like the biggest size baking powder and baking soda I've ever seen. A teaspoon of each. So they're both leavening agents, which means they make them rise. So like, you know how things rise when you bake them? This is what makes it rise. Unless it's yeast, then that would be used for like yeast bread. So wheat bread, white bread, all those kind of things. But anything like this, like a cookie or like banana bread, that's the leavening agent. So the difference is this one requires an acid to rise, so it needs to have like buttermilk, or lemon juice, lime juice, anything like that to get it to activate. This one doesn't. It already has the acid in there. Sorry. So you don't have to have it, but in this recipe you have both, so it's blender out. And they actually get pretty big. They look like little pumpkin balls, so it's kind of weird. So the spices that are gonna go in it are like what you'd find in pumpkin pie spice. So there's cloves, nutmeg, I'm gonna use almost all of this today, and then cinnamon. So not tablespoons, I said that before in my demo. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, which is still quite a bit of cinnamon. And then these are kind of, instead, you could level them off, but usually you can shake them to be even. And then a half teaspoon of cloves, half teaspoon of nutmeg, which to me, these remind me of like a Christmas smell or like the holiday type smell. Like if you were to get a scented candle that smelled like Christmas, that's what all these spices smell like to me. Usually I pass it around for you to smell them, but because of the given circumstance, I'm not gonna pass it around with all my classes. I don't like cloves very much in anything else. If I ever have a recipe that calls for cloves, it's not something pumpkin-y, I don't put it in there. Just because it's such a strong, overwhelming like spice, I only like it for baking. Nutmeg is really good if you put it in fettuccine Alfredo, like in the Alfredo sauce, it's really common. It's also like, have you guys ever had an old-fashioned donut? It's that flavor of an old-fashioned donut. So if you know what flavor I'm talking about, like that's nutmeg. So that's a pretty common ingredient in those. I can't really think of what other, like I don't put it in my banana bread or maybe zucchini bread, but I don't know if you guys have ever had that. Okay, next is salt. Now salt, even though it always leaks out like that, I don't know why. Even though it's a cookie, salt enhances the flavor of anything. So you always put salt in food, even baked products. You know that bully lady who's on The Worst Chefs in America, like the blonde, you know what I'm talking about? She like says on the show that if you forget salt, then you'll be eliminated immediately if she's your judge. So salt is really important in all foods across the board, and I teach my students going to state that. If you forget the salt, it's going to have no flavor. So even in baking, you want to put salt. If you go to somebody's house for dinner, taste the food before you ask for salt and pepper, because it's a sign of disrespect if you salt and pepper their food before you try it, because it means you think they're not a good cook. That's what I learned in etiquette school. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people just have it. They're not trying to be disrespectful, but that's what they say, is that it means, like, it makes the chef automatically think that they don't know how to season. I have never thought that. If somebody asks for salt and pepper, I'm like, get it. It doesn't bother me. But that is what I learned in one of those classes. I'm just using this teaspoon because it's easy and I don't have to dirty another dish. So just mix that all together. So that's all the dry ingredients. Set that aside, and then you're gonna do your creamed ingredients, which is sugars, butters, vanilla, eggs. Okay, so this recipe calls for a half cup of butter, which is just a stick. And that's what we use in here. It's way easier than weighing it. When you look at the side, it's got tablespoons on it, 8 tablespoons. It also says a half a cup. I feel like students are familiar with it because most of my kids have made mac and cheese, and a half of one of these is a quarter cup, right? Because most of you made mac and cheese and had to do that before. So a quarter cup's a half of a half cup. So this whole thing is a half cup. It should be softened but not melted. If you have melted butter, it will completely change the consistency of your cookies. I told you it's coming down. Keep these things. So over them by the end of the day. So just soften, not melted. Next is, it says 1.5 cups of white sugar. I need to take white out of there because powdered sugar is white and so is granulated sugar. So granulated sugar is the one that's like the consistency of salt, and that's what this is calling for. So it's 1.5 cups of that. And if you accidentally used powdered sugar in the cookie part, you'd be fine because it's still sugar, it's still sweet. Now, if you accidentally use granulated sugar in the glaze or a frosting, it would not be good because your frosting or your glaze would have that like granulated consistency, and it would taste, or like feel bad in your mouth. It wouldn't taste bad. It would just not like be a pleasant frosting at all. Okay, that's a lot of sugar. Whoops, that's why these taste so good. So 1.5 cups of sugar. and then a cup of canned pumpkin. If you wanted to roast your own pumpkin and puree it, by all means, go for it. I'll give you extra credit. I mean, not that you have to make this recipe, but I'm just saying if you want to try to make your own pumpkin puree, it's really tasty. It's just a lot more work. Okay, so a cup of that. And pumpkin smells like baby food. I mean, it just does before you bake it. So that's how it smells. 1 egg. And I always crack the eggs in something else so that in case there's a shell in it, I can take it out before I put it in with all the sugar and stuff. Because it's hard to get out once you pour it in there. Okay, and then a teaspoon of vanilla. This is vanilla extract. Not nearly as good as real vanilla. At home, I always get my vanilla from Mexico. Anytime I go or my mom goes or anybody goes, I ask them to buy me more vanilla because it's so much better than this. Like imitation vanilla is nothing compared to the real thing. And like I got the white vanilla the last time and it smells like cake batter. Have you guys ever like tried cake batter or like flavored stuff? That's what it smells like. And if you put it in your pancakes, it's like cake batter pancakes. It's so good. Okay, so I'm gonna read all the ingredients, make sure I got it all. Flour, baking powder, soda, baking soda, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and salt in here, and then butter, sugar, pumpkin, egg, and vanilla extract in here. So I'm gonna put this onto the mixer with the paddle. So there's 2 attachments for the mixers when they're in here. Well, there's actually 3. There's a bread hook as well. So this is the paddle. This is the like whisk. So this is for frostings, meringue. This one's gonna be for cookies, batters that are a little bit thicker. And then the dough hook is for bread dough. So when you do it, you just put it in the hooks, push this back till it clicks, and then this has a little hole in it that you put on there and then twist. And you can go to like a 2 or 4. You don't have to go too fast because it's like the butter's really soft and it's not going to take it out. Once that mixes, then you can put this in there. So the recipe calls for 350 for 15 to 20 minutes. I'm going to turn this off before. At home, if you do this, anytime you cook at home, it's going to be different than if you use the convection oven here. So the convection oven cooks it like in half time with hot air. So you'll see that they look like little balls, like little cookie balls. At home, because you're cooking it for 15 to 20 minutes and it has time to spread out, they're going to look way different than they do in here. And some kids say they taste different. I don't really know. I don't know. There's something magical about the convection oven. I just think it makes the best cookies ever. But it will taste a little different, or the consistency will be different at home unless you have a convection oven like that. So with the convection oven, cook it 25 degrees less. So I set the temperature for 325 and you do half time with cookies. So instead of 15 to 20 minutes, it will be about 7 to 10 minutes. Oh, I spilled some of it. Hopefully I'm fine. Okay, so I put the dry ingredients in with the wet ingredients. I'll show you the mixer. There we go. So it's mixing. If I pause it while I put it on the cookie sheet, will it lose my video? Okay.
You just have to make sure to put the pause button on the stop button.
Okay. Okay, so when it's done, it looks kind of like peanut butter. Doesn't smell like peanut butter at all. Still smells kind of like that baby food, the pumpkin smell. So the batter is thick. It looks like peanut butter. This is just extra pumpkin at the bottom, but okay. So it looks like it's a really thick dough, but it's actually correct. This is not wrong. It's just thick. Okay, so then anytime you're in here, I want you to use dishers like this. So the black one is 1 ounce, I believe. Yeah, 1 ounce. This one's 3/4 of an ounce. But it makes them be the same size. So if you had a bakery or something, you want to make sure that your product is consistent. So it's exactly the same size every single time. Plus it keeps like students or my own children from fighting over cookies because they're the same size instead of one being bigger than the other. Because everybody wants the biggest cookie. But definitely in the industry, you want everything that you sell to be consistent. So it's good to use stuff like that. And then also you can price it properly. Okay, so with this, guys, you just take it, scrape it on the side of the bowl, and then it comes out just like a cookie scoop. And I'm gonna pause there because you don't need to watch it the whole time. Okay, guys, I got the cookies in the oven for 8 minutes because it's the convection oven, and I'm gonna do the glaze. So the glaze is 2 cups of powdered sugar instead of the granulated. On my hands. I'm just gonna use this as my straight edge. Sorry, I have pumpkin on these, guys. Those of you that are close can see it. Okay, and then a tablespoon of melted butter, which the butter has been sitting there melted since this morning, so I have to put it back in the microwave. Don't worry, I'm like one of the messiest cooks, but I always clean up after myself. Some people drive them crazy, but I clean up. Okay, 3 tablespoons of milk. If you want more because you want your glaze to be a little bit runnier, you can put more. I'm gonna actually put 4. Oh my gosh, never mind. I was gonna say, will you stop it? I can hear it. It probably exploded all over. That long. Whoops. Okay, a teaspoon, or I'm just gonna pour it over there so I don't put the milk in there. A tablespoon of butter, and then a teaspoon of vanilla. And that's it. You could do it by hand, or you could use the mixer. And that's it for the glaze. And then when they come out, you just like drizzle it over the cookie. I'll show you a finished one here in a second. Oh, that one's gonna fit in here. Okay, I'm gonna grab some ones that are ready to go up. They're not the prettiest cookies, mainly because I didn't take a lot of time. You could actually put the icing in like a piping bag and pipe it on there nicely. I just like took a spoon and put it on there. So, like I said, in the convection oven, they look like little balls. If you make them at home, they'll flatten out a lot more. But then you just put the glaze on the top and make a mess like me. So that's what they look like when they're done. But you could drizzle it so it looks a lot prettier, but this is the quick way. I'll put the first one, put this on for later so I can check that with my bare hands. Okay, that's it. I'm stopping.